The President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency William Ruto, has called on the Pan-African Parliament to be the continent's standard bearer on issues affecting African citizens. These include issues related to intra-African trade, climate change, and democracy and good governance. The call was made during an audience coded to the President of the Pan-African Parliament, His Excellency Honorable Chief Charumbila, at his State House in Nairobi, Kenya. The President of Kenya asked the Pan-African Parliament to play a role in the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area, which present immense opportunities for exponential economic growth through trade and investment. This implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area is in line with the African Union theme for 2023, and it is regarded to the work of the Continental Parliament through this year. President William Ruto said, "Today Africa contributes only 3% of global trade, yet it has 17% of the world population and market. By 2050, Africa will be home to 25% of the world population and huge market. We must organize the African market to work for us and not to work for others." Furthermore, President William Ruto and His Excellency Charumbila extensively exchanged on the issue of climate change and its increasing threat to the continent. Ruto said it was time for Africa to end the use of fossil fuel and embrace renewable source of energy, adding that the continent had the largest unstoppable reservoirs of clean energy. In this regard, the President of the Pan-African extended an invitation to President Ruto to grace the third African Parliament Summit on Climate Policy and Equity, to be hosted by the Pan-African Parliament on 16 to 17 May 2023. The goal of the summit is to galvanize a critical mass of stakeholders capable of catalysis broad support for poor, just, equitable, locally led and science-based decision in NDC's implementation and over climate action. In addition to taking stock of the COP27 and overall Africa progress in the NDC's implementation since the adoption of the Paris Agreement in 2015, the summit will also interrogate the continuous question of just transition and come up with recommendations to guide the member countries on the direction which align with African realities. Commending Kenya for holding free and fair election, the President of the Pan-African Parliament briefed President Ruto on the Continental Parliament's program, as well as progress made by its leadership to renew, reorganize, and reinvigorate the institution. His Excellency Charumbila also sought President Ruto's intervention in ensuring that the Parliament is allowed adequate resource to achieve its mandate, while underscoring its significance of Pan-African Parliament within the African Union architecture. President Ruto urged the Parliament to amplify its voice on issues of interest to the continent. The Kenyan leader called on the Pan-African Parliament to encourage adherence to democratic principles across the continent, underpinned by free, fair, and credible election. Also, President Ruto added by saying it is the people who decide their leader, and we must continue to defer to them. The delegation accompanying the President of the Pan-African Parliament to the meeting with His Excellency William Ruto include speakers of the Senate and National Assembly, Honorable Amosan King and Lieutenant Honorable Moses Watengula. The meeting was also attended by Environmental and Climatic Change Principal Secretary, as well as member of the Kenyan delegation to the Pan-African Parliament. Thanks for